Okay, so the issue we've got as we look at this, so we've got this data selected, right? And the data selected is basically the same as the row 0, col 0, all of these different classes that I've got. I want to see the attribute thing working. I just don't know enough to know how it would work. But what I can do is I can add the class row selected, and that can be, you know, the y equals selected y, and I think that will work. And then we can come into our grid SCSS, and we can do this, end row selected, and it should work now because we've already got the RGBA value in here. So now if I focus, no. Great. Why are we not getting it? So let's look. When I click here, so I've got the Sudoku cell. I'm sure I did something. We're adding the class row selected if the y value for here equals the selected y. Did I take that out of the code? Is that what I did? Yeah, I did.
It fits perfectly with how today is gone then.
Yeah, no, actually it's still here. It's still here.
Oh, good.
So outer CSS selector may be wrong or unnecessary. Oh, you know what? That is a good call. A really good call. I really appreciate the feedback from chat today. You guys have been on point. Both Chow and Red Jam, you guys have been amazing. Thank you so much. This might need to be here only because, well, no, that seems a little bit. We'll try it with just row selected because we're only going to add that in the case that we actually select a row. No, I'm not seeing it on the elements, and that's what I'm trying to debug now. So if I click here, so selected X is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh, and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, no, we're right. 3, 4, 3. I've got my X and Y backwards. So if we inspect this, and I wish I could show this. Somehow I need to figure out how to show this on my smaller monitor. Oh no, row selected is there. Oh, I know what the problem is. How? Let's screenshot this. That's the way to do it. Because as soon as I move this window, it's going to lose the focus. So it's another duh moment, Brooke. My day has been going that way. Here is the class that I'm adding. Here is the SCSS. Another duh moment. I'm doing awesome today. That is what we wanted. Yep. Absolutely, Rich Jam. Absolutely. You have these moments throughout the day. And look at that. So now, let's do the same. Let's do a class dot call selected. And in here, we're just going to do X equals selected X. And we don't need this debugging stuff I added here anymore. And in the grid component. We'll make sure to get it right this time. And we'll just set a background color. And this one, I'm just curious if I can do this. We'll do a light blue. And we'll do a 0.4. I don't know. I'm just guessing right now. We'll worry about the colors when we're getting close to using it. So if I click here, boom. Look at that. All this messing around, and I wanted to get this done.
Right.
Yeah, so I read about that earlier. And one thing I need to do is I need to get StyleLint installed on my personal computer. I use it all the time at work. And I need to get StyleLint installed on this computer because StyleLint will catch these things and tell you, hey, you're using outdated CSS and stuff like that. And earlier today, StyleLint called out RGBA versus RGB, and I spent some time reading about it. And so that's why I thought I was right, but I just needed to make sure. The other thing StyleLint will call out is modern CSS, according to StyleLint, should use the 0.4, the 0 point whatever values. You know what? We're ending on a positive, on a high value, on a,
Yes.
you know, this is good. The next thing I really want to do is checkerboard this, and
Oh, really?
yeah. Or do you not agree with that?
Well, I don't know. I think it'd be interesting to see. My initial thought is that's going to be like kind of an eyesore, but maybe it'll look really cool.
Yeah, and that's so right now we've got a bug where if we take the focus out of the grid, so we need an on blur event that's going to clear those values so that we lose the highlighting, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Who knows? But if we refresh this, when we look at it this way, everything just kind of blends together, right? And
Yeah.
I don't want a heavy checkerboard. Like I think these colors are not good together right now.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
We definitely need some better colors, um, and we also I think maybe like a steely blue, um, and we go with slightly darker shades as we were going on.
Show me what the digits do inside the text box, or like delete one or do some, manipulate them for me.
Yeah, nothing right now.
Okay. Okay.
So we don't have any functionality. That was actually what I was hoping to. I was hoping to solve this issue in the beginning of the stream and wow everybody. The lightest color I think should be, so right now we can see in the crosshair, right? We're in this grid area right here. I think that should be the lightest color. Then I think we should have the lightest color on these parts of the crosshair that are outside of the current 3x3 grid that we're in. Inside of here, these four cells should be slightly darker than the lightest color, and then this one should be the most saturated. I think that's going to look the best. All the same color, looking good, and then we're going to be slightly more saturated based on the checkerboard. So probably the least saturated will be the checkerboard, just a really subtle highlight on every other cell so that as you're looking at the grid, you don't get lost. Like if we just focus on this 3x3 grid, it's really not, I don't know. It is easy to see the differences, but it would be a lot nicer If and maybe we hate it. Actually, we can do that highlighting pretty easily, right? Um, to see because um, I think we can do. Let me just make sure. I think we can just do the Sudoku cell. So if we come into our SCSS and we can just do the sud cell, right? And um, isn't it? Oh, I always have to look this up, and this is where I need to be better at CSS. But if we do CSS even child selector, um, and if you guys remember, I think I can just do nth even. So I think I can just do nth child even, right? And then that should work. I think we can do it without using import. That's one thing that I really try to do is avoid important. And so if I can't get I think I can just do nth child even, and thank you prettier for putting that there. And here we can just do background color, and we'll just do an RGB. Um, you know, we'll do um, 0, 125, 255, and I need my commas. And we'll do like a 0.15, something really not saturated at all, and see how that comes through in the grid. That is horrible. It needs to be darker, much darker. That actually hurts the eyes. I don't know. Oh, actually, on the stream, it doesn't look too bad. um, but try
It
the high.
helps. I mean, it helps.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, we're going to need to
Oh,
fix the highlighting. Um, so there's definitely going to need to be some more work done. Um, it definitely makes the grid easier to see, but you're seeing, if you could see my screen, it's almost a neon blue that hurts the eyes. So the video compression is actually it's actually helping out quite a bit. So let's tone this down. Let's take this down to 125. And we'll take this down to, oh, come on, computer. Take this down to like 72, something like that.
now what about? It seems like I've seen some Sudoku grids that when you fill in the square, then it fills in with a highlight color. Or alternatively, like if you've clicked on one of, like let's say you were like right there, like you've got it on that top right corner, right of the middle grid.
Mm-hmm.
If you're clicked on any one of those 9 squares dead in the center, then that whole grid of 9 would highlight
Yep.
in the purple or in the green,
Yep.
right? And then also the row and the column.
Mm-hmm.
But, and then once you fill in one of those text boxes, then that would highlight a certain color. So like you're starting with an all white background, but as soon as you start filling them in, then that's when they highlight.
Right. And I think we can fix this this selector issue. Um, without the important, but maybe we can't. Oh yeah, you're probably right. The Sudoku cell is a child. Well, it's not anymore. Um, that was one of the changes that we made, is that we took off the div. If we go back, and now we highlight, we've still got the issue. Um, so what we can do to clean this up is in the CSS, we can also add um, right, we can add this to um, both of these classes. And so now we'll get, oh, nope, that doesn't work. Um, that definitely doesn't work. I just made a mess. Um, because basically now I've just created a horrible cascade and this one's going to win. Um, so what I need to do, I also need to move this into here. Whoops. And also um, copy this into here, right? And we'll do the same thing down here. And in that way, if we've got it and it's the even nth child, um, then we can. That should fix our highlighting. Oh yeah, you're probably right. That will give me more weight because I'm using an alpha blend. But I'm not seeing it because I'm overriding it. But what we can do to give it more weight is we can come into here and we can just bump this by a bit, right? So now the checkerboarding will remain. What's interesting is the row, it's so subtle, the differences, that you can't really tell on the row highlighting. But you're absolutely right in that now we're pushing a lot more CSS to the browser. Um, so we'll definitely need to solve this issue with the nth child. Um, because what would be nice is to have these layer on top of each other. Um, so at this point, let's drop this so that we get more of a. I'm okay with where we were, where we are. I think we explored some fun places. There were a lot more struggles again, and the crazy thing is the difference between what you guys see on the stream and what I see on my screen. But we definitely need to do some cleanup, right? So these variables need to be moved into CSS variables, and that would actually solve our issue too, right? Because what we could do, and this is, I'm gonna keep going, right? Just one more thing. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yes, yes, absolutely. Our selector is more specific. And so, yeah, I think what you're meaning by more weight is the specificity of the CSS selector. And since it has better specificity, it's winning out over the other one. But what we can do is do a row highlight color. And we can make that this color. Um, and then we can have a column highlight color, and we can make it this value. And then I definitely need to go after we do this. But so then here we can do var. This is the row highlight color. And here we can do var column highlight color. And then what we can do is with this CSS, the nth child even here, we can go and we can make this, we can call it the checkerboard color, right? And right here, we can do var checkerboard color. And then we don't need these nth child even. What we can do is we can set our checkerboard color here. And we can do the same here. And really all I need to do is change this word. And it looks like I need to turn on my camel humps stuff. And this needs to be dash dash. Right, and then we can remove this extra space and this extra space. And now, through the magic of CSS variables, we've got this, and oh, great. Why didn't that work? Well, for one, it helps if I spell it right. There we go. So we were able to overcome having to add the extra selector. And yes, Red Jam, you caught that perfectly. But we were able to overcome the extra. We don't need to use the important on our class anymore. And we still get the same pattern. So the next thing to do, and we're definitely going to have to do this next stream, we're going to add highlighting to this 3x3 grid like you mentioned, Brooke. We're going to make our colors better. And part of making our colors better is making this cell definitely better highlighted, so that it's much darker and we get this nice, you know, there will be a little bit of work just cleaning up the CSS in the beginning. But I think we're at a good point to where once we're here, the next thing we need to look at is checking cells and rows and columns, right? Because the only thing that's legitimate here in this Sudoku is the rows. If you notice, they're the only ones that follow the rules. So our columns should be getting errors, right? Because we're all ones. And you know, we should be getting errors here and here and here because we're all 1, 2, and 3. And so there should be a lot more errors in this grid. I think once we get the colors nailed down and everything like that, it'll be time to move out of Storybook and into our actual application. I think Storybook has been good to us in helping us see what a grid should do, but I think honestly we could build our whole application here in Storybook, but I don't think that's a good idea. To your comment, you weren't backseating too much. I actually really appreciate the help. Um, I think it's good to show the struggle that devs go through, right? Because senior devs struggle too, right? And I think that a lot of time as a junior, we expect our senior devs to just be perfect all the time. Um, and so it can be a struggle when we feel like we're struggling. Why aren't the senior devs struggling? Well, you just saw tonight that senior devs definitely struggle.